Is the ice cream in your freezer actually real ice cream? What if I told you that some products sitting in Canadian grocery store freezers are not legally allowed to be called ice cream at all? They are frozen desserts, and the difference matters more than you think. Under Canada's food and drug regulations, enforced by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency, a product must contain at least 10% milk fat to legally be called ice cream. Drop below that threshold, and manufacturers must label their product as frozen dessert, frozen dairy dessert, or ice milk. This is not a technicality, this is federal law, and many Canadians have no idea they are buying frozen desserts marketed to look exactly like premium ice cream. I spent weeks researching Canada's ice cream industry, digging through ingredient lists, studying Canadian Food Inspection Agency regulations, tracking ownership changes, and analyzing what Canadians are actually putting in their mouths. What I discovered will change how you shop forever. The Canadian ice cream market is worth over $1.5 billion annually. Canadians consume approximately 6 liters of ice cream per person every year. But here's the truth nobody talks about. Some iconic Canadian brands have been quietly acquired by multinational corporations. Family recipes have been reformulated, and the ice cream your parents enjoyed might not exist anymore. Let me rank Canada's most popular ice cream brands and reveal what you are really eating. Number 1, Chapman's. Chapman's is Canada's largest independent ice cream manufacturer, and for good reason. This family-owned company has been making ice cream in Markdale, Ontario, since 1973 when David and Penny Chapman moved into the rooms above an old creamery and started their business with 4 employees and 2 old trucks. Over 50 years later, Chapman's is still family-run. David and Penny still come to work every day, and their son Ashley now leads the business. That continuity matters because it means the commitment to quality has never wavered. Here is what makes Chapman's exceptional. Every single product uses 100% Canadian dairy, real cream, real milk, from real Canadian cows. Chapman's is actually the largest processor of butterfat in Canada. They proudly display the blue cow logo, which certifies that all dairy ingredients are sourced from Canadian farms. Why does Canadian dairy matter? Unlike the United States, Canada prohibits the use of bovine growth hormones like bovine somatotropin. Canadian dairy farmers must ensure their milk is free from antibiotics. When you choose Chapman's, you are choosing ice cream without artificial growth hormones. They have consistently advocated for consumers to read labels carefully. As they state directly on their website, if it says frozen dessert, it is not ice cream. Chapman's production facility in Markdale spans over 500,000 square feet across multiple plants. The company produces over 280 different frozen treats, including premium ice cream, frozen yogurt, sorbet, and novelties. Their Super Premium Plus line won Ice Cream Maker of the Year 2025 from the International Ice Cream Consortium. What truly sets Chapman's apart is their commitment to allergen safety. When Penny Chapman received a call from a 10-year-old boy with a peanut allergy who had never been able to have ice cream at his birthday party, she knew she had to act. Chapman's now operates separate nut-free and nut facilities, producing an industry-leading range of products for people with allergies and dietary restrictions. They have been recognized by Anaphylaxis Canada and received the Susan Daglish Award for Leadership in Anaphylaxis Safety. Chapman's even volunteered their industrial freezers during the pandemic to help store vaccines for the Grey Bruce Health Unit. That is community commitment you simply do not see from multinational corporations. The ingredient list for Chapman's Markdale Creamery Vanilla shows cream, milk, sugar, and minimal stabilizers. Fresh cream is listed first. That is real ice cream made the way it should be. Number 2, Kawartha Dairy. Kawartha Dairy has been proudly serving Ontario since 1937, when Jack and Illa Crow took a leap of faith and bought a small dairy in Bobcaygeon, Ontario. At that time, it consisted of a simple 3-room building where the cold storage area was cooled with ice cut from the lake. Local farms provided milk picked up by wagons in summer and sleigh in winter. In those days, all milk was delivered to homes by horse or to cottages by boat. For over 85 years, Kawartha Dairy has remained 100% Canadian-owned and still operated by the same Crow family. That is generational commitment you cannot buy. In the mid-1950s, Jack Crow attended courses at the University of Guelph, where he learned how to make ice cream, which would become one of their signature products. By 1960, the company expanded to Minden, opening their first retail store outside Bobcaygeon. Today, Kawartha Dairy operates 16 retail stores and services wholesale customers, from grocery stores to ice cream parlors across Ontario. The company makes a point of using fresh Ontario milk and cream exclusively. Almost 90% of the milk they use comes from farms located less than 100 kilometers from their Bobcaygeon facility. They process fresh milk daily, turning it into rich and creamy dairy products within about a day of arriving from the farm. Kawartha Dairy offers over 50 ice cream flavors, and their ingredients list shows fresh milk and fresh cream as the first two ingredients for all flavors. The company confirms their products contain no bovine growth hormone. In 2017, the company received over $300,000 from the Eastern Ontario Development Fund to support a $7.5 million expansion. Kawartha Dairy's commitment to quality has earned them a devoted following. Their chocolate milk and eggnog are beloved seasonal favorites. The company represents what Canadian dairy should be: locally sourced, family-owned, and committed to quality over profit margins. Number 3, Cow's Creamery. Cow's began making ice cream in 1983 with an old-fashioned family recipe that originated in Cavendish, Prince Edward Island. Founder Scott Linkletter still owns the business today. What started as a small kiosk on the famous Cavendish Boardwalk has grown into a company with 12 locations across Canada, from Prince Edward Island to British Columbia. Cow's was named Canada's best ice cream in a Reader's Digest opinion poll and was listed as number 1 in the world's top 10 places for ice cream by Talk World Discovery. That is not marketing hype. That is earned recognition. The secret to COWS ice cream is their commitment to premium ingredients. Every scoop contains 16% butterfat, significantly higher than the 10% minimum required by the Canadian Food Inspection Agency. More butterfat means richer, creamier ice cream with a denser texture. Cow's ice cream is churned slowly with limited air incorporation, so each bite is packed with flavor, rather than whipped full of nothing. An integral part of Cow's ice cream is Prince Edward Island milk. They use exclusively PEI milk in the production of their ice cream, cheese, and butter. The salt air and iron-rich soil of Prince Edward Island combine to create unique flavor profiles in the dairy produced there. Every scoop is served in a handmade waffle cone created one at a time, right at the counter. The aroma of fresh waffle cones baking is part of the Cow's experience. They produce over 32 innovative flavors in their Charlottetown facility, including customer favorites like Gooey Mooey, Wowie Cowie, and Island Strawberry. In 2006, Cow's expanded into cheddar cheese after owner Scott Linkletter visited the Orkney Islands in northern Scotland. Their Avonlea cloth-bound cheddar was named World's Best Vintage Cheddar at the World Cheese Awards in 2015. The company also produces their iconic cow-themed merchandise featuring pop-culture cow puns, designed by local PEI graphic artist Mark Gallant since 1987. Cow's represents Atlantic Canadian dairy at its finest. Locally sourced ingredients, premium quality, and a commitment to craftsmanship that has remained unchanged for over 40 years. Number 4, Foothills Creamery. Foothills Creamery was founded in 1969 in Calgary, Alberta, and has proudly produced dairy products and served Western Canada for over 50 years. The company is 100% Canadian-owned with operations based in Calgary and additional locations in Edmonton and Kelowna. The story begins with butter. In the 1930s, there were about 93 creameries in Alberta, and they were slowly closing and consolidating. Don Bayrak, who worked at the Swift Plant Creamery behind the Calgary Tower, wanted to save the factory. He and his business partners founded Foothills Creamery by taking over the plant in 1969, and they have been making butter the same old-fashioned way ever since. Foothills still makes their butter by slowly barrel churning cream until it contains over 80% butterfat. This traditional technique is what makes their products richer, creamier, and more full-bodied than industrially processed alternatives. Vat pasteurization preserves the natural flavor profiles that high-temperature processing destroys. In 1986, the company decided to use the buttermilk, produced as a byproduct of churning butter, to start making ice cream. The buttermilk helps give their ice cream a richer, smoother flavor. What had previously been going to waste became the foundation for their ice cream business. Today, Foothills offers over 80 different flavors of ice cream, sorbet, sherbet, and soft-serve mixes. They source all cream from Western Canadian dairy farms. The company provides options for various dietary needs, including lactose-free, low-sugar, and dairy-free products. Their ice cream can be found at retail locations across Alberta, British Columbia, Saskatchewan, and Manitoba. Foothills represents the best of Western Canadian dairy tradition, old-fashioned techniques, locally sourced cream, and a commitment to quality that has endured for over 5 decades. Number 5. Shaw's Ice Cream. Shaw's Ice Cream was founded in 1948 by Carl Shaw in St. Thomas, Ontario, making it one of the oldest continuously operating ice cream brands in Canada. The story of Shaw's survival is one of passion, determination, and family. Fast forward to the early 2000s. Shaw's was facing tough times. The company was slated to close its doors, and Canada nearly lost this historic brand. Enter Kim, Kelly, and Christine McLaughlin, 3 sisters with a lifelong connection to this homegrown Canadian gem. As teenagers, the sisters had owned and operated their own scoop shop, proudly serving Shaw's ice cream. In 2001, when they received notice that their beloved supplier was closing, they made a decision that changed everything. Despite having zero experience in manufacturing, their passion for ice cream and a desire to keep the brand alive empowered them to leave university and buy the business. In the early years, each sister focused on a different area. Christine headed up production and accounting. Kelly oversaw sales and dairy bar operations. Kim obtained her truck driver's license to deliver products herself. Over time, they expanded distribution to scoop shops and grocery stores throughout southwestern Ontario, then added co-manufacturing services for other ice cream brands. Shaw's eventually outgrew their production facility in St. Thomas. Today, Shaw's can be found in grocery stores across Canada. Above all, Shaw's has maintained a legacy of creating the highest quality ice cream using 100% Canadian dairy. Their family recipe brings classic taste made with fresh cream as the first ingredient. They take time sourcing the purest flavorings, fruits, and dairy ingredients. Shaw's offers over 40 different flavors, including creative options like Unicorn Toots, Saturday Morning Cartoons, Port Stanley, Sunken Treasure, and their best-selling Grammy's Cupboard. That flavor was inspired by the sisters' actual grandmother, Dorothy McLaughlin, known as Grammy, to her 14 grandchildren and 27 great-grandchildren. The blend of vanilla ice cream, peanut butter ripple, cookie dough, and brownie pieces pays tribute to the homemade treats Grammy always had in her cupboard when the girls visited. That is the kind of authentic family story you cannot fabricate. Shaw's represents Canadian entrepreneurship at its best. 3 sisters saved a 75-year-old business from extinction and turned it into a national brand. But before we continue with the rest of this list, if you have ever walked out of a grocery store wondering if that frozen dessert is really ice cream, or who actually owns the brand on the label, drop a comment below. Tell me which Canadian ice cream brand you trust most. Subscribe so you do not miss our next investigation. And if this video helped you understand the difference between real ice cream and frozen pretenders, hit that like button. Now let me tell you about the next brand. Number 6, Island Farms. Island Farms has been proudly serving British Columbia since 1944. From their first horse and buggy stocked with milk bottles, Island Farms built a reputation for good things from good people close by. Everything they provide is crafted with care, using freshness and goodness that comes from local BC dairy. Only quality Canadian milk, always fresh and wholesome. Their slogan says it all. Made right, right here. Here is where the story gets more complicated. Island Farms is now part of the Agropur family, the largest dairy cooperative in Canada, headquartered in Saint-Hubert, Quebec. However, Agropur is a cooperative owned by 2,908 dairy farmers who join together to process and market their milk. So while Island Farms is no longer independently owned in British Columbia, it is owned by Canadian farmers rather than a foreign multinational. Island Farms delivers over 600 fresh dairy products to families throughout British Columbia. The company maintains a strong community presence, sponsoring family events and charitable programs. However, Agropur has faced challenges. In November 2025, Agropur announced the closure of its Edmonton ice cream plant after 60 years, laying off 137 workers. Island Farms also discontinued their yogurt line due to declining sales. The ice cream remains quality Canadian product made with BC Dairy, but independent local ownership is gone. Number 7. Made by Marcus. Made by Marcus is a different kind of ice cream company. Founded by Marcus Pertsky in Calgary, Alberta, this small batch operation represents the artisanal future of Canadian ice cream. Marcus holds a bachelor's degree in food science and nutrition from the University of British Columbia. For him, making ice cream is more than just good taste. It is science. After working in restaurants in Vancouver and New York, he moved to Calgary in 2012 when his wife began her medical residency. Marcus started making macarons, and because French macarons require large quantities of egg whites, he found himself with leftover yolks. What do you make with egg yolks? Ice cream. He bought a small gelato machine, and his rich, dense ice cream quickly became more popular than his macarons. Made by Marcus ice cream is built from scratch with dairy from grass-fed cows and real ingredients produced by farmers, roasters, distillers, and artisans they know and trust. Unique flavors include peach yogurt jalapeno, passion fruit basil, and cigar and black cardamom coffee. They collaborate with local businesses like Monogram Coffee to create limited edition flavors. Made by Marcus now operates scoop shops in Calgary and Edmonton with next-day delivery service throughout Alberta. They produce no stabilizer premium craft ice cream, and the process takes 3 days. They do not take shortcuts. If you have ever wondered who comes up with all the crazy flavors, it is Marcus himself, experimenting with titrations and formulas to perfect each recipe. For Made by Marcus, it is always about the process. This company represents the craft movement in Canadian ice cream. Small batches, local ingredients, scientific precision, and wild flavor innovation. Premium pricing reflects premium quality. Number 8. Scotsburn. Scotsburn Creamery was established in 1900 in the village of Scotsburn, Nova Scotia, by a group of farmers wanting to turn milk into butter for the community. When the company formed, 80 local farmers purchased shares at $5 each. That is grassroots Canadian agriculture. For more than a century, one of the largest dairies in the Maritimes was based out of Scotsburn, a village surrounded by sprawling dairy farms on Nova Scotia's North Shore. The company grew steadily, becoming a household name throughout Atlantic Canada. In 2014, Scotsburn agreed to a $61 million deal to sell the fluid milk portion of its business to Saputo Incorporated, a leading Canadian dairy company. This included production facilities in Nova Scotia and Newfoundland, plus their supply chain across Atlantic Canada. Scotsburn then focused attention on ice cream. In 2016, it was announced that Scotsburn and all its remaining assets would be sold to Agropur, the Quebec-based dairy cooperative. At the time, Scotsburn employed 360 people in Atlantic Canada and Quebec. Scotsburn's ice cream business filled a gap in Agropur's product line. Scotsburn now produces more than 39 flavors of ice cream, including classics like Bubblegum, Birthday Party, and their iconic Moon Mist. Agropur says Moon Mist sales are second only to vanilla in the Scotsburn portfolio. It is sold throughout New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, and Labrador, and Prince Edward Island. Moon Mist itself has a fascinating history. The flavor combination of banana, grape, and bubblegum likely originated sometime before the early 1980s introduced to Scotsburn by a flavor house. It evokes both nostalgia and pride throughout the Maritimes, making a cameo on the Nova Scotia television show Trailer Park Boys. When Halifax-based Farmers Cooperative Dairy merged with AgroPur in 2013, and AgroPur later purchased Scotsburn in 2017, the company ended up with two different Moon Mist recipes. AgroPur decided to phase out the Farmers version, keeping only Scotsburn's recipe. A petition in 2020 called for farmers to bring their version back, showing how much Atlantic Canadians care about their ice cream heritage. In 2022, AgroPur made a significant $34 million investment in its ice cream and frozen novelties plant in Truro, Nova Scotia. Scotsburn Premium Inclusion ice cream bars were recognized as one of the year's best new products at the Canadian Grand Prix New Product Awards in 2015. Scotsburn represents Atlantic Canadian ice cream tradition, but like Island Farms in British Columbia, it is now part of the AgroPur Cooperative rather than independently owned. The heritage brand survives, but decisions about production and products are made in Quebec. Here's the bottom line. The Canadian ice cream industry has undergone massive consolidation. Beloved regional brands have been acquired by larger cooperatives and corporations. Independent family ownership is becoming increasingly rare. But the story is not entirely bleak. Chapman's remains proudly family-owned, using 100% Canadian dairy. Kawartha Dairy continues as a family-owned Ontario institution. Cow's Creamery delivers premium 16% butterfat ice cream from Prince Edward Island. Foothills Creamery maintains old-fashioned barrel churning in Calgary. Shaw's ice cream was saved by three sisters who refused to let it disappear. Under Canadian Food Inspection Agency regulations, real ice cream must contain at least 10% milk fat. If the label says frozen dessert, it is not ice cream. Look for the Blue Cow logo certifying 100% Canadian milk. Read the ingredient list. Quality ice cream lists cream and milk first, not water or vegetable oil. Support Canadian-owned companies. Family businesses keep profits in Canada and support local dairy farmers. You deserve to know what you are feeding your family. The packaging might look the same. The nostalgic branding remains. But only the fine print reveals whether you are getting real ice cream. If this video helped you understand what is really in Canadian ice cream, hit the like button and share this. Subscribe so you do not miss our next investigation. Ring that notification bell. Because when it comes to what goes into your freezer, Canadians deserve nothing less than the real thing.